Hello everyone and welcome back to Sudden Wealth. I hope you're having a wonderful continuation of the week. If you do enjoy the content, please consider dropping that like and subscribe. We are approaching the magical number of 1,000 subs. So your support is indeed heavily appreciated. So thank you very much already in advance. Now, let's go straight. Maybe this one will be a bit of a shorter video, but let's go straight for something important, which is the Pulsechain ecosystem continues to pump. So in case, for those of you who weren't present a bit earlier in the cycle, what happened was X pumped the hardest in the beginning, particularly X on Ethereum. And now actually X is lagging a little bit the others, but Pulsechain and Pulsex are actually doing quite well, particularly Pulsex. Now the incentive token is the one doing the best, but that one is, I think, mostly driven because of low liquidity and low market cap, which people tend to like. It's so funny because the token that is pumping the most is the one with the least utility of them all. This is what I'm trying to say. This is a clear example of you shouldn't fall in love for narratives and utility memes, because we've seen this over and over again with coins with absolutely no utility outperforming other projects much better. So that's why I don't fall in love with narratives. So what is my strategy? What I've been talking about. So as I mentioned in the past, Hex pumped the hardest. Now it's lagging behind Pulsechain and Pulsex. Hedron is lagging behind Icosa. Icosa is the one that is outperforming everything. Maybe Hedron will outperform in the near future. But the point is, this is the reason why I own them all. You see? Because it doesn't then really matter. Then I don't need to play guessing games on the time frame. On time frames. Now, does that change my strategy? No. How have I been allocating my purchase so far? So I tend to prioritize Pulsechain and Pulsex. Now, the reason for it is because they are cycle 1 coins. And X is, despite the fact that X is a good project, there's no question about it, X is a cycle 2 coin. Now, people will say, oh yeah, but the X on Pulsechain is a cycle 1 coin, right? Because the fork happened less than a year ago. Yeah, but it's the same community. So in practice is a cycle 2 coin. It suffered all the traumas of the bear market. So the people suffering and the people that remember the high levels that X got are the same. So to me, they are one and the same. So it's a cycle 2 coin. So in my opinion, maybe poised for less gains than the others. So I'm a bit heavier tilted into Pulsechain and Pulsex. Now, but how do I decide what to buy? So what I do is I check the one that pumped the least or the one that has dumped the most. So even after this huge pump on Pulsex, it's still barely, 50% of its day one sack rate. So did I sacrifice? So the question that I ask myself is, did I sacrifice for Pulsex day one? Yes, I did. So I was willing to buy the coin at that rate. So now here I am with a price which is around 50% of what I paid initially. So if I was willing to pay full price, why wouldn't I pay half discount? See what I mean? That is my thinking. Now, that doesn't mean that you should go out and just buy whatever I'm talking about. No, I'm talking about my retirement coins. And I'm giving an example of why I don't like to play that much the game of which coins is going to pump faster, which one's going to pump harder. I mean, I have the feeling that if I have all of them, I will do very well. Yeah, and then that's basically it. Like, for a long time, I was extremely heavily tilted Pulsex because I thought Pulsex was really undervalued. So my cost average is extremely low now on most of these coins. As I only saw red candles, I kept on buying and buying and buying. And by the way, I can tell you that it was quite painful to buy during those time periods. It didn't feel nice. It didn't feel exciting. It felt like garbage. to be perfectly honest. But that was the point, to buy when it feels like garbage. You see, the reasons that I like the projects now, Pulsechain, Pulse, Pulsex, Hex Hedron, Icosa, I like them for the same reasons now that I liked back then. What's the difference? What changed? Green candles. That's it. There's no other change. The reasons why I like them. So why do I like them? Excellent communities, intelligent communities, good founders, excellent code, operating very well compared to its competitors, no VCs, no private allocations to influencers and, well, venture capital firms, none of that you see in most of other coins. We are not associated with scammer YouTubers. Now, look, I'm not saying these people are scammers, because I cannot prove it, but just go inform yourself on, well, BitBoy's story is famous, but just go and inform yourself on crypto banter as well, and you'll start to see the disgrace of this industry. See, what ends up happening, this is quite funny. I've talked about this before, but let me go through a little tangent here. So what happens is, bull market comes. People go on YouTube, they predict 100 coins, about 5 or 10 of them will do very well. They gather a big following, they start to sell Patreons, trading courses, membership programs, all of this kind of stuff, and they start actually building a business around it. But the problem with business is that you have overhead costs. You need to pay people, maybe you need to pay facilities, maybe you need to pay hardware, maybe you need to pay whatever. And then the bear market comes, and all of a sudden, all these geniuses, geniuses that pick the random coins during the bull run, start to get exposed as failing completely on their assessment of most things. But the problem is they still have the overhead cost, but now the coins are not going up. Now the interest in crypto has plummeted, so there's much less people buying courses, much less people renewing memberships, much less people paying Discord fees, all of that stuff. So they fall into the old temptation of launching coins themselves that then go to zero, associating themselves with bad parties who are scammers, basically getting paid to promote coins after getting private allocations at extremely low prices, and basically conspiring with the developers of said projects to dump on their followers, etc., etc., etc. So the space is filled with this, and you need to understand why. They get to a point where they get very desperate. You see, what they end up finding out is that doesn't matter how many crypto businesses you start, you would just do better by allocating those funds into your coins and just holding them. You see, that's not exciting. You see, these people develop egos. They think they are the kings of the world. They think they can predict anything. They think they are the Warren Buffett of the 2020s. And then reality comes knocking down, and eventually they get desperate enough and they start scamming their audience full force, full time. And, well, unfortunately, a lot of newbies fall for this. A lot of people new in the space or new in investing, so they don't recognize all these patterns. And unfortunately, they are the ones that pay the price. So now, hopefully, you follow this channel enough. That's why I don't charge anything. That's why I don't sell anything. That's why I don't, with all the predictions I got right in 2023, it would be so easy for me to come here and sell a $5 or $10 monthly fee to know all the next trends that are coming, blah, blah, but I tell them for free. I don't ask for any money. And still people actually called me a scammer and say, how can I be a scammer if I don't charge any money for anything? But, well, that's not here or there. But in any case, what I wanted to say, I try to be exposed to all these coins that I believe will get me to the promised land. Will they get me? I don't know. I hope so. I trust so. Why? Because of the reasons that I just mentioned before. They are the same reasons when the coins were going down as the coins are going up. The only difference is now people like it more. Once again, because I've said this many times, but I will say it again. People don't want to buy Bitcoin after a bloodbath, going down 80%. No, they want to buy it after a 300% pump. When the ETF is out, they want to buy it at 50K, 55K. They don't want to touch it at 10 or 15K. They want to touch it 3 or 4 or 5 times more expensive. Human nature. It is what it is. Now, if you want to see how good how good a project is, that takes a lot of work. If you want to know how good the project is perceived, just look at the color of the candles. Red candles is a scam, it's going to zero, it's worthless. Green candles, I always believe this is it, going up 10,000 fold, blah, blah, blah. That's it. Same project, different color on the chart. Now, the underlying fundamentals, those are the ones that I look at, so that convinces me to buy when it's painful to buy. That's it. Hopefully, I'll get rewarded for it. Hopefully, you stand behind that screen and you listen and you view me taking that journey. We'll see. I wish you all a great evening, and thank you very much once again for your time, and I'll catch you in the next one.